what they do is they just jump from host to host. So once they are done with somebody vessel, which is, your vessel right here, once they done with your vessel, you know what I'm saying, they just jump to the next person. You know what I mean? So they around and they're gonna be around. Lord, that's how you made me in my heavens. I know I did some dirt and I ain't innocent. In isolation as I reminisce, the real reason you niggas switch. It was all about the Benjamin. It's up. K74, we back with another one. Just giving y'all my word, continuing to stay consistent. So, this episode, I basically want to talk about, basically why do I decide to do talking heads. So, I'm going to give y'all, 1 or 2 more videos about who I am as an individual, my personality and everything like that. But then after that, I got so much in store for you. I've been reaching out to people and I got some things lined up. So it's about to definitely get a jump start. What I wanted to do before I get into introducing anybody else to the podcast or to just even doing content in general, I said, let me let the audience know who's following me, who I am as a person. The question might get asked, bro, why are you doing talking heads? You know what I mean? You have so much to offer. Why do talking heads? That might be a question people might want to know, people close to me, whatever, that they never might just ask it straight out. The reason I do talking heads is simply because, for one, I have a big family. I have, on my dad's side, my mom's side, I have a ton of family. And I can guarantee that, I probably haven't met at least, I want to say, 25% of my family. Maybe even 50, you know what I'm saying? That's just how big my family is. So we might know of each other, but may never actually met. Your family can be so big that you have to remind people oh, that's this person's son and he's related to. So, and then with the social media, I feel like that made it to where everybody is just okay with seeing family member and friends on social media, and then it indicates something in the brain that's good enough. To me, it never really made sense because I'm more of a person I'd rather see you in person and, vibe with you in person. But one thing about it is I'm always a firm believer is you got to get with the times. So I'll do these talking heads for my family and friends that might not know who I am, which I'm pretty sure they don't know who I am, because the person that I was just a year ago, I'm not the same person. You know what I mean? And I haven't seen some of my family in years. I'm talking about over 10 years, 15, 20 years. So they definitely don't know who I am. You know what I mean? But yes, at the core, I never changed up. When it comes to my morals and principles and, just giving respect and, just moving as righteous as possible. Yes, my upbringing, that's how I was raised, so it's in me. But I'm talking about just on a day-to-day, my mindset as I'm maturing. I'm not the same that I was when I was a teenager versus to a grown man. So I want people that, like I said, my family to understand and know that, I'm good. So I do these talking heads so they could understand where I'm at mentally. You know what I mean? That I'm still here and in good spirits and my right mind. You know what I mean? So I just want to give these videos out to let, my family and friends that knows that's beginning to be my family, my newfound family that I'm building on here. And also, I have, you know, younger people in my family that looks up to me, you know, and I'm not going to be here forever. And we none of us are. So for those that might have not met me, that's in my family that heard about me, they instead of hearing stories about what I did or how I was, they could actually tap into my talking heads, to my content that's out there, and see for themselves exactly what I stood for, what my mindset was, and things like that. So that's definitely one of the reasons I do the talking heads. And then another reason is it's like certain things, like yes, I can write a song, record a song, and things like that. But one thing about my music, for the average listener, certain things you probably won't understand. I could say like my music is more for the advanced listener that really kind of like could read between the lines, and because it's more like parables and really like in-depth stories, events that I've been through in my life. So if you probably never been through that, been to certain places, been through certain things in your life, you probably won't. The average listener probably won't get what I'm talking about. When I'm naming certain locations, if you've never been there, it's gonna sound foreign to you. I do these talking heads to get certain points across, so that I could break it down to the point even a child could understand what I'm saying, because I feel like that's very important when you're giving out information. Last but not least is that, the show must go on. You know what I mean? The show must go on. So whether I have people that want to contribute to what I got going on building or not, like I still invested in certain things. I still have to be, if nobody else, I have to be the one to present content and make sure that I'm putting things out here for my audience. And I don't want to hold you guys for too long, but I wasn't going to touch on this. The more and more I scroll, all you see is news about the files. Just my observation of what I'm seeing going on out here right now, man. I'm seeing that a lot of people are basically opening their eyes to what's been going on. A lot of us are not surprised that spiritually awoke. Like when we hear certain names, like we know these names. Like when we hear Baal worship, we know Baal. You know what I mean? If you read the word and you know your word, like it's nothing new under the sun. It's not shocking or surprising to me, because I understand how the spiritual realm works. Yes, to the naive, it might be shocking that, they doing this to certain things to kids, torture, stuff like that. But they always been doing that. When you read the word, you see that it's always been going on. You know what I mean? So let me ask you something. Y'all really think it's just all of a sudden people just changed and those behaviors just went out, just disappeared? Come on. These entities, demonic spirits, they basically been here forever and ever, and they will be here until, the judgment come. What they do is they just jump from host to host. So once they are done with somebody vessel, which is, your vessel right here, once they done with your vessel, you know what I'm saying, they just jump to the next person. You know what I mean? So they around and they're gonna be around. I just want people to understand that, you know what I mean? Even when you go back to the transatlantic slave trade and all that was going on around that time, yeah, they was doing that same stuff around that time. So, you know what I mean? What makes you think it's not going on? But the sad part about it is that, see, because I don't see color, none of that. You know what I mean? I look at how people moving, how, they morals, stuff like that. You know what I mean? And, the sad part about it is that they targeting young, white middle class, females from what I'm seeing. You know what I mean? And, people would think like, okay, they look at white people, they got it all. They feel like, oh, they middle class, they well off, they good. And I got to see different walks of life, and it's problems in every walk of life. Everybody have their issues. You know what I mean? And I feel like, to be targeted that way, to where, you middle class. And like I said, I've been around all walks. So I've been around middle class kids as a kid, and I know that a lot of times we were at, our friend's house while doing God knows what, while their parents was doing overtime. You know what I mean? Then once they finally get time for themselves, they trying to go on vacation. So a lot of middle class kids are being left unattended due to people chasing the bag. So what happens then is now the kids are vulnerable. They probably getting these weird invites, and nobody really knows anything, because by the time everything is said and done, a lot of them are just too ashamed to even speak out, or what they said are too scared. So with that being said, man, I just want to say, man, to the middle class, to every class out there, man, just please keep an eye on your kids, and just be aware of what they got going on, because as we see that they are getting preyed on by these men, these powerful men. The Most High, He knows what's been going on this whole time. He sees everything. So, but the thing about the Most High, He is merciful. He would give you grace. He will give you time to get it right. Just change your heart. Everybody has that time to get it right. You know what I mean? And the thing what's going on now is He's revealing the darkness that He knew that's been going on since the beginning of time to offend Him, because this is all spiritual. And like I said, these entities are just using us as hosts and vessels, but it's entities that's definitely against the Most High and the righteousness that He stands for. So you just have to be aware that, you know what I mean, and just choose the right side, pick the right side. He's revealing everything, to let us know finally what's going on, who He has, ruling us, basically. But we already know this. Like I said, if you read the word, you know that we in the land of our enemies. You get what I mean? And it tells you these things. My condolences and everything goes out to the victims. He's revealing this stuff to us, but it's really nothing that the average, everyday person could do about it. You know what I mean? So we just gonna have to trust, and first and foremost, in the Most High. Second of all, trust that He did put some good people out there in leadership. Like, that's not gonna cover up for people that's doing these type of things and putting us, the American people, in harm's way, like leaving us vulnerable to the powers that be and covering up stuff. Stuff like that just can't go on here in America. It probably has been going on years after years, but I'm hoping that this is the beginning of just nipping that stuff in the bud. As we see, it is slowly but surely coming to the light, and people are willing to talk about it. So with that being said, I want to end it like that. internet, y'all do what it do. I want to thank y'all for rocking with me. Until next time, I'm out.